From cloudy Southern California, it is it's going to be a good day.
Oh yeah.
I declare that in the name of the Lord God of heaven.
Amen.
But let me tell you something. We've got a lot to talk about today. We are going to talk about, excuse me one second, internal Israeli politics,
Balagan,
which will become a world problem. That's going to be a big deal.
Oh.
We are going to talk about what is happening if a re-election in Israel happens, if the government is disassembled. That's going to be wild. And contrary to popular belief, like the cuckoos, like Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, those facts are deeply consequential. They mean something. And Israel needs Bibi. I'm just going to say that right now. That's a whole other story. We're going to get into that conversation. We're going to talk about why that's important. We are also going to talk about the GCC. We are going to talk about the fact that I believe they are now in a state of declaration of war against Iran in a very new way. Yes, that means Saudi Arabia. Yes, that means the UAE. Yes, that means Dubai.
Okay, here's a question. Does that mean Iraq?
And
have you heard what happened, what was going on in Iraq during this whole event?
I would bet that if the Kurdish problem goes away, which I suspect it will, because of some of the Turkey issues that are at hand, then it will eventually mean Iraq.
Well, you know that ties into what's been coming up over the news feed this week about what's going on in Iraq. Let's see if we can want to get into that too.
And the whole Babylon issue, which the biblical Babylon issue, which is a whole other thing that will contribute to these stories that are happening in Iraq. Very interesting, by the way, on the Iraqi side. We didn't even get to talk. I just hiccuped in the microphone. We didn't even get to talk about that before we started.
Oh, in a
That's gonna be fun.
nutshell, in a nutshell, it turns out that Israel's been how do you say, created and held on to a base right deep in the Iraqi desert.
We know that.
Meaning actually an airfield where Israeli planes landed and took off, where Israeli helicopters were stationed in case of the need to extract Israeli pilots, and maybe even American helicopters were stationed there, and that allowed them to get in to find that American F-15 pilot, okay, as quick as they did. How come they had those little birds as quick and as fast as they did?
We should also note this to all these people that think it's going to be a good idea to get rid of Bibi. That was Bibi's doing. There's just so much to say. I got so much to say about all this.
Okay, we've got to go in. So we've got Trump-Iran. We've got that whole dynamic going on. We've got internal Israel dynamic going on. I do want to address a little bit about the anti-Semitism that everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah, more and more.
And how is that happening? I'm going to do something very unashamedly, and I'm going to plug an event that I will be in Morning Star Calvary Chapel, Calvary Church, Morning Star Calvary Church in Whittier on Thursday evening.
I never thought I would see the day where I would say the pastor of Morning Star Christian Fellowship is an amazing man.
Yep.
I never thought I would say that. But when Wade took over,
there we go.
I could say that with great confidence. Wade is good people. I'm glad you're going over there.
Wade is definitely good people. And if you want to join us there, we will be there on Thursday evening. The event starts at 4, and I'll be speaking at 7.
You know, I got to sit down and have lunch with him yesterday.
Did you?
We talked for 4 hours.
I need to talk. Well,
he's good. He's good people.
We need to talk about what you talked about,
yep,
that's here. But what I'm trying to say is, if you want to hear about how this anti-Semitism is seeping into the church, among other things, I've been studying for it and kind of putting together the mechanism that allows people to get all mixed up about that. Join me there. We're going to have some good food and a good time.
And you know, Wade has taken the Israeli issues very seriously.
To heart.
He's taken the political stuff pretty seriously. I mean, he's
Wade, I think.
I'm very proud of him.
Wade is, and if we don't know, Calvary Chapel Christian Fellowship is Morning
Star Christian Fellowship.
Christian Fellowship
Yep.
is the actual in Whittier.
In Whittier.
Did I say that right?
Yep.
Is kind of materializing to be the kind of pastors that is the opposite of what me and you have been talking against here. I mean, he is the how do you say?
He is certainly no Jack, that's for sure.
Stereotype of what we think the pastor should be as far as dealing with the events.
Well, let's just say this: Wade is one of us.
Yep,
that's for sure. He's one of us. So but I've always had a lot of respect for Wade. Wade's always been one of the good guys to me. He's just a good salt of the earth brother. So I'm glad. Really, really, really glad that you're going down there.
So, where do we want to start?
Okay, so, man, I think right now the most pressing issue is to start with the major shakeup that's happening right now in Israel, because the Israeli politics are a big deal. We've got to talk about what's going to happen and what that actually means, and then that has to bring us into what's going on with the Gulf Coast. The Gulf Council Coalition, and basically they have in essence declared war. They're not coming right out and saying we declare war, but under the direction of the royal family of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, they are in essence declaring war. So and they're doing it, by the way, this is very interesting, with the help of India, of all people.
Now, in order to tie the two subjects together, which is what I like to make Balagan connections, okay? Tie the two subjects together with the Gulf War in the Persian Gulf, which is being run by President Trump, okay? And think about the United States and President Trump in that war without Benjamin Netanyahu on the Israeli side. Think about an election in Israel that replaces Bibi Netanyahu as the prime minister of Israel for all kinds of reasons. And I would like to go into it a little bit to explain a little bit about the internal issues in Israel and the internal politics in Israel, and think about how that would play out.
Well, I'm a little irritated, and I'll tell you why I'm irritated. I'm irritated because the religious right party in Israel, which, by the way, when we say religious right, it has nothing to do with anything that we deal with when we say religious right here in America. Religious right in Israel is a whole different group. And I'm going to say, which, by the way, how in the world could the head of police support that nonsense? What the heck is wrong with him?
Okay. Can I kind of set out the groundwork for a little bit of this?
But I just want to get this. I want to just say this so everybody knows this, okay? The religious right stabbed Bibi in the back. David's going to talk about this.
I wouldn't call them right. I mean, we have right and left, and we have religious and non-religious. Put it that way.
That's why I say the religious right. I'm not saying just the outright right. I'm just saying. Anyway, we could call them whatever they want. I prefer to. Let's just call them clowns. Okay. Listen, so they stab Bibi in the back. And then after stabbing Bibi in the back, then you've got two. Speaking about clowns, you've got two of Israel's biggest idiots in politics. Okay, Yair Lapid and his clown stooge partner Bennett, who is a literal coward and a liar. By the way, he's a complete liar.
Okay.
He's a liar. So they're both now coming together because they think they can do better than Bibi. And I hope they're both wearing diapers because they're going to both poop on themselves. All right. Bunch of delirious clowns.
Pastor James, let me
I'm sorry, I'm a little mad.
No, I get you, but let me lay out so the people understand basically what we're talking about so they get a little bit of an idea. First of all, start off at the beginning. In Judaism, did not diversify into different I'm going to say denominations. So you've basically got Orthodox Jews. Something like 85% of the Jews in Israel are Orthodox, but not all of them are religious. So just like I would say, a Christian nation where most of the people are Christian, grew up Christian, not everybody goes to church on a regular basis. The secular Israelis are Jewish by race, religion, and nationality. Okay, but most of them adhere to the religious traditions, but do not practice Judaism in a religious manner. About 20% of the population in Israel is practicing Jewish, and about half of that is what we call ultra-Orthodox or very Orthodox, meaning they're so Jewish that they live a life that is similar to the Amish.
Yeah.
Meaning they differentiate themselves. They move out of the regular society. They live in their own neighborhoods, their own organizations, their own communities, and they are not a regular part of Israeli society, even though they are Jewish. And here's the problem, okay? Because they deem their studying, their religious studies are so important, they do not serve in the military. And they found a loophole not to serve in the military. And again, that's a whole different discussion. But basically, they don't serve in the military. And as a result of that, they don't go into the workforce and pay taxes. So they have become I'm going to say, a burden on the security of the country. They are defended like everybody else. And on the economy of the country, they don't put anything in. But because of Israel's parliamentary system, they are more or less funded by the government. Did that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
Let's go a little bit.
It's nasty, but it makes sense.
We're a parliamentary democracy. We don't have a two-party system. We have a multi-party system, which means we all go to vote on the day of election. They take all of those votes divided into 120, just like the Sanhedrin in the Bible. And each number, that gives you a number, each block like that represents a seat in our parliament or in our Congress, if you want to put it in American terms. And the party that has the majority, remember, it's not two parties. It has one party, multi-party system. The party who gets the majority has to make concessions, agreements, and evaluations with the smaller parties in order to create a coalition that will give him more than 61 seats. Remember, 120, if you have 61, you have a majority. It's called a coalition system. So that's the basic idea. Add on one more thing that most Americans do not understand. We do not separate church and state, or in our case, synagogue and state, meaning religious organizations, including the ultra-religious organization, the people that we talked about, are allowed to run political parties in their name. And the rabbi tells all of them to elect this party or that party, meaning they have political power. Which means that because we have a large left and a large right, they become the kingmakers. And because they have become the kingmakers, they get funding, budgets, and political weight way above their pay grade, for lack of a better word, which is the situation that we've been in. That's why, excuse me, Ben-Gurion didn't take them into the army, and which why Benjamin Netanyahu has been funding them on a regular basis with large amounts, and which is why they've been exempt from military. Now, 7th of October, everything changes. We're in a long, prolonged war. Israel has an economic problem that we're dealing with, which is less problematic, but we have a problem with not enough people in the army. Both the regular army, we go in for 3 years, and the reserve army, because if you don't do the regular, you can't do the reserve.
Right.
And the ultra-Orthodox do not serve. So there's a growing number of people who are actually being outspoken to say we need the ultra-Orthodox to serve together with everybody else. And that is the backdrop of what's happening right now in Israel.
I just want to beat up. I want to verbally, not physically. I want to verbally beat up Lapid and Bennett.
Okay. So,
can I just tell you this right now? What's wrong with the majority of Israelis if they support these people? How can they do that knowing the disaster both of those guys were? When one was the foreign minister, he made things worse. And then when he temporarily became the prime minister, it was such a disaster that it forced the coalition to break up completely. The Knesset was, in essence, it fell apart, and it made things far worse. And Bennett did everything opposite of what he promised he would do. And what he promised he would do was corrupt anyway.
So the Orthodox, by the way, and the reason we're even having this conversation is the Orthodox have actually written an official letter yesterday to the Knesset saying that they are not going to support the coalition. They've been holding up Bibi's coalition until now. They're not going to support the coalition, which means if they vote, against the coalition falls apart and we start ticking off to the next general elections. That's one of the reasons Israel has not managed to hold an actual 4-year term of government. We always kind of lose them before. That happened yesterday, and unless they find some kind of an arrangement today or tomorrow, it looks like we're going to general elections. Now, the question is, what will general elections be, and might it be possible that Bibi will lose his majority as a result of that, a coalition, and he might not be the next prime minister. And that in itself is a whole.
It would be a disaster. But I personally think that he's going to get away with still holding together a coalition, still remaining the prime minister, and I think it's going to backfire on this religious on the religious party. I think it's going to backfire on them.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you remember, Bennett and Lapid were prime minister rotating for a little while.
I know.
And
one from the foreign minister's office into that position.
Exactly. That was the only government that did not take the ultra-Orthodox into consideration, meaning they were not funding the ultra-Orthodox. And as a result of that, they didn't manage to hold the coalition. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but the coalition fell apart. It seems like, to a certain extent, it's true. Without the Orthodox, you cannot hold a long-range coalition. And the Orthodox are saying to Bibi, you're talking about taking the Orthodox men into the army. We will not allow that. And this is
prior to Bibi, people were saying you can't take Iran on head-on.
I get you.
Prior to Bibi, they were saying, no way you get rid of Hezbollah. Prior to Bibi, they were saying, good luck pulling Hamas out of Gaza.
I need to go biblical on this, and I think I've talked about this on the show a couple of times, and I have to say this. We, as Jews, we have a problem with authority. We have a problem with doing what's right. And again, I mean, I'm studying for Thursday. It's not like we always do what's right. I mean, look at the spies who came out of the Promised Land and said, we can't do this. 10 of them said we can't do this. Only 2 said we could. And down through our history, there's been Jews. I mean, I'm reading now about anti-Zionist Jewish movements.
Yeah,
I don't know, things like that.
It's all anti-Semitism.
I can't call Bennett an anti-Semite. I mean, I can't say that. Bennett served in the military. Yair Lapid was on.
Yeah, but listen, Bennett. Here's the problem with Bennett. Bennett, at least just be a consistent man. At least get enough guts to tell the world what you are and what kind of creature you want to lurk as. Because Bennett might say for one moment that he is this, pro-Israeli, pro-Jew, for whatever, what do you want to call it, backwards anti-Zionist, like whatever you want to say. The reality of it is Bennett is a chameleon. Bennett doesn't stand. He's just like Yair Lapid, although Yair Lapid is a little crazier than Bennett. He literally, I mean, the man is he's a cuckoo.
Come on, I met him a couple of times.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. Like, he has multiple personalities. He has to. Saying and doing what he's doing.
Okay, I think Bennett Lapid, and I'm going to throw in American politicians who flow and ebb according to where they think the clicks are, or where they think the support is, or where they think the polls are going to take them. I mean, I've seen this happen in American politics with people on the Republican that turned against Israel. I mean, look at what's happening with Tucker Carlson. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
Tucker-
it's that kind of mentality where the values and the ethics are defined by popularity. For
But I
lack of a
also
better
think,
word.
but I also think Tucker is actually losing his mind.
Well, yeah,
Like I think he's mentally ill. Like he's literally developing mental illness. That's just my opinion. Like he is so bipolar, for lack of a better term. It's ridiculous. He even has dual personalities from within the very things that he says. One day, Trump is the Antichrist. And, well, I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth.
Well, they
it's
pushed back.
crazy.
I mean, I'm glad they pushed. But before we go to Tucker, I want to go back to the Bennett and Israeli politics. Again, like American politics, are being moved according to values. And here's the problem. I got to hand it to the religious. They're saying we're looking out for our people. We no matter whoever looks out for our people. We don't really care about the war. We care about.
They don't care about Israel.
They don't. They care about their people, and they believe that in the name of that, they're doing it right. The other side of the scale, you have Benjamin Netanyahu. That even though I can't always agree with everything that he does, he has been a straight line on everything according to about Iran. He's had to move left and right in order to play the political game, but we're seeing just like President Trump. By the way, President Trump has said that Iran is a problem for the last 30 years, publicly.
He's consistent.
Now, he has to weave in and out of the political situation, but he is consistent. But here's what I want to do. And if we can put up that little piece of information, this is what has me worried this morning.
Yeah, I'm going to do this. Let me do this real quick. I think what we'll do is we'll do this. Sorry. It's this one. I'm going to put this up, and what we're going to do is we'll put us up in the little corner here and go from there.
Give me a corner.
Yep. Okay. All right. So we're oh, I have to fix this for a second. Oh, yeah, keep talking about it.
Okay. So this is a recent poll that came out, Channel 1. And again, it'll move a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, just like any polling situation. And these are the numbers of seats for each of the different parties in Israeli politics right now. And you can see that at the top of the list on the right side, by the way, we go right to left in Hebrew. On the top of the list on the right side is the Likud party with Benjamin Netanyahu. He's got 26 seats. Look at the number, though, for Bennett and Lapid. It's 25 seats. It's one less than the Likud. Number 15, what is written there 15 is Gadi Eisenkot. He's another, I'm going to say, right-wing turn left kind of problem. Okay. To the left of that with 10, 9, and 9 are a far left wing, a middle religious, and an ultra-religious party. And to make the long story short, the numbers at the bottom are what are problematic. Okay, look down. It says the the numbers of right side or left side coalitions, and according to this, Benjamin Netanyahu can only create a 51-seat coalition. The anti-Benjamin Netanyahus can create a 69-seat coalition, or maybe if you take off the Arabs, a 61-seat coalition. There's our problem.
But when push comes to shove, are we going to see that?
That's the question. And again, whatever happens, we're going to have elections probably around September, October, if this does go out like this. If not, our elections are supposed to be in November anyway.
Right.
I mean, that's the whole situation. But what I'm trying to say is that Israel is reshuffling itself. I don't believe that Benjamin Netanyahu could come out of an election and not put together a coalition, but the problem is at what price he will have to pay to the Orthodox. Yeah. And there we go. So that's a little bit about the situation. But again, what I want you to take away from this is the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu's support is crumbling mainly because of his support for the religious. On the other hand, he needs the religious in order to create a government. This is going to be touch and go.
I do not understand how you can be anybody that's even remotely aware of Israeli politics and do this. And by the way, I would not be surprised if Bennett and Lapid are also being told, or they're telling people like the Attorney General, we'll take care of each other if we can form a coalition.
Yes.
And I'm here to say this. If Israelis vote for and make this coalition happen with Lapid and Bennett, the Israeli deep state will find a place to recover.
Yeah.
They will prevail. And if you think you're worried right now as Israel about Turkey, you better really worry if this happens.
I'm going to say I got to worry about something else. But one more thing, and we can take the numbers down because I think they've gotten the idea.
It makes me sick.
One more thing I need to do, though, in order not to go down the route of anti-Semitism that some people are going to do by taking this and making the Orthodox issue. The reason, I mean, how does somebody in Israel, after going everything that we've gone through and everything that we're dealing with, how does somebody in Israel not want to serve in the army? How does somebody in Israel not want to be a part of defending the country? And one of the things I need to stress is that the Orthodox believe they're defending the country. They believe that by them sitting in their yeshivas, in their religious schools, and debating and arguing about the Torah, about the Bible, basically, that is spiritual defense that translates into political and military defense. That is their mindset. That's how they believe it. That's what they believe. And again, I'm not saying I agree with them, but there is the dynamic that it's coming from. And I want people not to use this against the Jews. That's what I'm trying to do, because we're seeing that anything that can be used is being used against the Jewish people.
I have to think that the Jews inside Israel are so much smarter than Lapid and Bennett.
Yeah. Again, the only thing that will bring Lapid and Bennett to power is the feeling of most Israelis of what we say, not everybody actually willing to come in under the stretcher. I mean, if you've ever carried a stretcher, you need 4 people to carry a stretcher in any, long-term this. And there's always the ideas, who's willing to take on the burden of carrying the structure of defending this country. The Orthodox are not going to do that. Lapid and Bennett are saying that they're going to make the Orthodox bear some of the weight. That would bring them the election. That's what I'm afraid of. And Bibi is not saying that he will do that.
Yeah, but then it's a catch-22, because then how does the Orthodox end up joining and helping them form the coalition that they need? They can't do it without the Orthodox. That's 7 votes at least.
The only way they can do it,
right? Are we talking about 7 votes?
But here's what we said: the only thing they can do it is by putting the Arabs into the government, and that's a whole another story.
Yeah, but then the problem is everybody knows that they would try to bring in Ra'am, but Ra'am won't join them in that coalition because of what happened when it came to the north.
So here we are. We're in a catch-22. All of Israeli politics are in a catch-22, and this is the situation we're in right now. And let's remember that when President Trump, I mean, I'm going to go back to a lot of even this depends on what's going to happen at the end of this war. Meaning, what happens with Iran is going to move the hand either to the left or to the right, and this. And again, I can't help but saying it again and again on this platform. The bottleneck or the Gordian knot that we're tied into in the whole Persian Gulf Iran thing is impacting Israel's internal politics. It's impacting Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah in Iran, and like we said, the GCC and what's going on with the Gulf states.
Yeah, I'm telling you, And then the Gulf, that complicates dramatically what's going to happen with the Gulf states. Because if the Gulf states feel like they don't have a strong leader in Israel to help them with the defense mechanics that they need to, that means they're going to have to heavily rely upon the actions of the United States of America.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet you Donald Trump gets involved in defending Bibi in Israeli politics internally.
Well, he's already done that a couple of times.
Well, the whole thing with Herzog.
Yeah.
Herzog still hasn't recovered from that. He's still struggling over what to do.
Yeah. He's a Herzog. And again, there's a whole, their family is.
And I hear he's now wanting to defect and go to a leftist kind of
he is left. Herzog is on the left. His family is in the middle. And again, we have Orthodox that turned left. He was part of that. So again, I'm willing to answer questions about the politics in Israel, but I think this does tie into the politics in the Middle East and what's going on. I mean, and James, help me on this one. How many times have we sat here, me and you, and said, this week it's going to happen? This week it's going to happen. We'll know by the next time we meet what's going to happen. It's either going to go this or this way. And we're still, how long? 2 months later, in this, I'm going to say about a month and a half in this in-between marketplace negotiation that's going on. How is this going to end?
I'm beginning to find some clarity in this. I'm beginning to realize that what a lot of this is this is President Trump keeping Iran guessing. I think that's one part of it. I think the second part of it is they truly don't know who they're dealing with. The IRGC is completely fractured. They are divided amongst one another. They're literally killing each other off. They're sending hitmen to kill the younger kids. So we don't even know, we have no idea who the IRGC even completely is right now. So you have that situation. You have the situation that's going on right now with the security guarantees that the United States of America feels like they need to give the GCC because the GCC doesn't want to be left with the same kind of scenario that they were left with when Trump got cheated out of his opportunity to become president a second term, at least back to back. So look, my thing is there, the reason why the GCC withdrew and held a very neutral position 4 years ago is because Joe Biden was aggressively positioning himself against the interests of Israel, against the interests of the Gulf Coalition Council, and of course, against the best interests of the region. Qatar saw that as an opportunity to completely compartmentalize and utilize that compartmentalization as an opportunity to make a ton of money, buy off people like Tucker Carlson and everybody else that falls into that crazy thing. But the more consequential and perhaps more significant issue here is that I don't see a scenario where that works. Now, in terms of the GCC, they recognize now they can no longer depend on anybody for security guarantees. So when they're given security guarantees by the United States of America, they have to use that as their opportunity to be able to put into commission the very tools that they know will defend them uniquely. And that is the reason why they're making this massive economic bent, especially Saudi Arabia, whether it be through the sporting events, whether it be through them pretty much reinventing Mecca, all of these things. Riyadh's not joking around. They're doing this because they see right away that they have internal security issues that they're dealing with. They have national security issues. And the only way they're going to be able to do this, and this is very, very important, is by them utilizing their own resources, developing tools like nuclear energy to power their AI infrastructure, build out their defense systems with the modified Patriot batteries.
Well, even more than that. I mean,
the Iron Dome.
Can I add? Yeah. I mean, do you know that there is Israeli soldiers in the UAE manning Iron Dome batteries?
100%.
Actually in the UAE. We talked about it, I think, last week. And one of the things that came out this week was that Saudi Arabia admitted that it had hit Iranian targets in Iran.
100%.
Now, we were all complaining about Saudi Arabia that isn't getting into the war. I mean, they're being defended by the United States and Israel. They're not getting into the war. Now they're saying we did get into the war. We just didn't tell anybody about it.
Not only did they get in the war and not tell anybody about it, now they're telling everybody that they have been amongst themselves issuing commands to engage, that they have been secretly attacking Iran.
But then kind of information came out from Al Jazeera the other day that Saudi Arabia doesn't want the United States to use its bases to attack Iran anymore.
But that's Al Jazeera being Al Jazeera. Al Jazeera is the propagandist arm of the Islamic Brotherhood. So keep this in mind. Al Jazeera stands as a functional enemy to Saudi Arabia and Saudi Arabia's interests. And as a matter of fact, Al Jazeera is the whole reason why the Yemeni Houthis have been able to get away with as much as they've been able to get away with across the Red Sea into areas like Djibouti. It's Al Jazeera who has propagandized this mechanical population of people that are blindly accepting what the narrative is being set by the Arab multimedia world, and it makes sense because it's convenient for them. So Al Jazeera is complicit, and by the way, Saudi Arabia knows it.
Okay, and here's the thing: Al Jazeera, and through Al Jazeera, Iran is using Western support.
Yep.
Western mindset, Western indifference in some cases, or downright animosity to Israel, thinking that that will be part of the weapons that they use in order to press the United States into places they don't want to go.
But the problem is they don't recognize what the president already recognizes. Iran does not see, the IRGC does not see what our president clearly can see. Iran doesn't see, Tucker Carlson doesn't see, Candace Owens doesn't see.
And a lot of Americans.
Demonic, evil Megyn Kelly doesn't see. What they don't see is what the president does see. And what does he see? What's the question? Can I say see enough times? What is it that he is able to functionally observe? It's really simple. You can say whatever you want about how bad Israel is, but you don't know the facts. You don't even know the propaganda well. You don't even recite the propagandist mechanics that are being given out by places like Al Jazeera all that well. All you say is what your college professor told you to say, or what your cult member told you to say online. But what you don't understand is you don't understand what the real mechanics of the problem look like, and you're walking completely naked and stupid.
So there are sources for information. And again, there's books, there's this channel here. I mean, listen to us. We've been talking about this, giving you correct information, giving you truth about this. There's more information, but let's remind everybody, and maybe sometimes I need to do this because I think we're starting to forget it, especially in regards to people that are watching us and listening to us, or people that we meet. Go back to your Bible. If you need to
100%.
decide what the truth is, you have a truth filter in your hand or on your phone or wherever you is. Go back to the Bible, and then you will know what is right and what is wrong, what is true and what is false. And I think that in many ways we're losing that. People expect a 20-second soundbite or a 2-minute in-depth, documentary about something.
But David, these people call themselves Christians. The same people who say that they hate Bibi, they hate Israel, they're anti-Zionist, but they're not anti-Jewish. These people do it in the name of Christianity, and they don't know it they wouldn't be able to identify real Christianity if it slapped them in the face. They don't know their heads from their literal butts when it comes to this.
Which is why I'm asking you, if you're listening to us, if you're watching us, if you need, please find out, educate yourself, read your Bible. I mean, and let the word, the truth, spread from you the way the truth is spreading. It turns out that 30%, by the way, of young Christians under the age of 30, I've been doing research on this, 30% of young Christians under the age of 30 do not believe that Israel has a right to the land.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But it's because they're being programmed by some of these just outright liars about what's going on, and they just don't know. They're too ignorant to be able to understand clearly what's happening.
But that also means they're not reading their Bibles.
They're
allowing themselves to be impacted without using their Bible to tell them what is right and what is wrong.
And they lack discipline in being able to discern what they're reading when they are reading their Bibles, because they're being coached by men who are weak. They're being coached by men who don't study the Bible. They're being coached by men who aren't dedicating themselves to understanding the very craft that God has called them to. And that's the bigger problem.
So if you're in a church that doesn't deal with the Israel issue in the right way, then maybe it doesn't deal with other issues in the right way.
Can I tell you a story of me shocking somebody recently? I'm going to tell you this story, bro. This is funny. You'll appreciate this, right? You can ask me after who it was that did this. I got interviewed by a major media organization about my book. Okay?
By the way, if you haven't read it, read it. I mean, I'm learning Revelation for the first time in a deep area.
That's a blessing, man.
Okay. I mean, again, as you know, I've just now reconnected. So this book has helped me understand Revelation in a way I didn't before.
Praise the Lord. And the second one's coming soon. The audiobook, by the way, is going to be released in a few weeks. So we're looking forward to that. But let me just say this about this book. So I got interviewed. Well, it doesn't matter when. I got interviewed a while ago by a world-famous media outlet. And the guys interviewing me were absolutely convinced that they could stump me when they started asking me questions about my book. So they have their production team go through and find out difficult areas in the book, and they ask me what they thought were the most difficult questions, and were shocked to find out that without any reference material, anything, I could just simply regurgitate it to them. And they actually told me.
Why am I not shocked?
They slipped. They actually told me, we were expecting you to not know the answers here. And I said, why would I not know the answers? I'm the guy that wrote the book. And they said, most people in the ministry that they know that write books don't write books. It's AI that writes it for them.
Really?
Or somebody else, and they don't know what they've written. Now, I kind of have a hard time believing that, because I know some authors, and the authors I know, they could regurgitate it literally in seconds. Tom Hughes is a great author that does that. I know Don Stewart knows all of his material. Certainly Andy Woods does. There's a lot of great authors out there. John MacArthur, when he was when he was on this earth, they could all regurgitate this. But you know how few people today actually can regurgitate the things that they teach or the things that they say, because they are going out of their way to utilize tools that keep them from actually
deep diving into the material,
from working. And when they do that, they also ask, this is the crazy part, they also ask for ways to avoid saying things that are controversial that'll get them in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why so many people continue to buy the lies that are being communicated by all of these people.
Again, we're talking about the algorithm that is a man-made, sniffing kind of filter that allows people to hear what they want to hear. And we all know that if you allow people to hear only what they want to hear, we will be having a problem. Okay, because we as people know that we are flawed by default, if you want to put it that way. Okay, and if you create a system that tries to, I'm going to say, stroke my flaws, it's going to be a negative system.
100%.
And here's where we are, and that's what people need. We need to fight against our flaws. We need God to help us overcome our flaws, and not to allow a system into our brains that actually reinforces the flaws that we have. Which is why that's the only way I can understand why so many people are buying into this untruthful hatred of God's chosen people in God's promised land. It's because their flaws are being stroked by the enemy.
Well, and it's spiritual blindness. I mean, look, when push comes to shove, these issues are spiritual issues. And what we're talking about is we're talking about the foundational mechanics of spiritual blindness. It's an iteration of what's been broken.
Well, he is the king of deceivers.
100%.
I mean, and he does rule the air.
100%.
I mean, and he does know how to ask. Just asking a question, as the snake.
I'm just
said
asking a question.
the snake said to Eve, and somebody else keeps on saying, "I'm just asking the question."
I just got a question. I'm asking a question. Yeah, you're asking a question because you are functionally unintelligent. You're asking a question because you don't have the courage or the boldness to actually do real research, come to a healthy conclusion, and then defend your conclusion, you coward. Sorry, you know, the Lapid Bennett thing it's just set me over the edge.
By the way, you're seeing a triggered pastor over here.
Yeah, I'm triggered. I'm definitely triggered. It's crazy. It's come on, bro. It's nuts.
I need to do something weird. I mean, give me a minute. Okay,
all right,
if
bro.
that's okay.
I need entertainment. Come
Yeah,
on, hook
all
it
right.
up, bro.
Okay, so as we're speaking right now, in Europe, they started the Eurovision Song Contest.
Oh, gosh, bro. Let's not start with this again.
I'm not going to start. Here's what I want, okay? The Eurovision Song Contest is different countries in Europe that are considered European send a song to a contest, and it's a big show. And
By the way, this is the contest that Jews should have won like 4 years in a row.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, the last one, when a Jew lost and should have been first place by a long shot, the person who got first place was a tranny who didn't even know the difference between a boy voice and a girl voice and couldn't sing to save hers or his life.
So this has become a political issue. Oh, by the way, we need to talk about the Mondial too. Okay, okay, all right.
You really want to light me up, don't you?
Okay, but here's the thing: it's a song contest. The Israeli, song that has been entered into the contest is a really cute song, really cute singer, but it has become a political issue. How do we know it's become a political issue? Like Pastor James said last time, Israel won in the people vote, meaning the votes of the people that actually sign in and vote, and lost in the votes of the official representatives. Each country has an official representative, and came in second place. But we should have won. Okay, and what I'm trying to say is the votes are really important. Why am I mentioning that? Because the contest is going on right now. And if you want to be a part of that, go to Eurovision.com. And you can sign in. I think you might have to pay money in order to vote. I think it's 99.99, like 99 cents to vote. Okay, but you are allowed from anywhere in the world to make up to 10 votes for whatever song you believe is the right one. And what I'm requesting, as an Israeli, as somebody who's been talking about this, if you feel like it, and if you want to, go into Eurovision.com. Let me double check that I have the address correctly.
And pick the Jew, because the Jew won't be confused.
And pick the song from Israel.
Yeah, because they know whether or not they're boys or girls.
Yeah, that's true. By the way, and here's the thing. The Eurovision Song Contest has become a platform for anti-Semitism in Europe, and Europe is going down as bad as what's happening here in the States is a problem. Europe is going down a very dark path.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I still can't get over Bennett Lapid. I'm still.
Okay, let me trigger you on another one. Okay, I'm changing subjects here.
I know what's coming here.
Okay, do you all know what the Mondial is?
Yeah.
It is the World Soccer Championship, the way I say it here. Now, the United States of America is going to host this. It happens every 4 years. The United States of America is going to host the championship.
All I'm going to say is this: do the right thing.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, because I'm going to lose my mind.
Let me tie it together because this is something that is so absurd that I can't really kind of imagine. Anyway, nations compete in order to get to these playoffs. The United States is going to be in the playoff. All the the Germans, the Argentinians, okay, and
Saudi Arabia for sure.
Iran is going to be in the playoff.
Do the right thing.
Wait a minute. Let me finish.
Marco Rubio, do the right thing. Step in.
Let me tell you what's going to happen. Okay, think about this. They have a pretty good team, the Iranians, by the way, and they said that they are going to come. If they're allowed to come, they said that they're going.
What
to
if
come.
they defect?
Wait a minute.
Then I'll be happy.
No, if they come, the whole world is going to be zooming in on them and not the rest of the contest, not the rest of the tournament, because everybody's going to be zooming in to see if they sing the national anthem, for instance, the Iranian team. But I'm throwing something really, really weird, really, really weird. Let's say that Iran rises through and makes it to second place. And let's say that they meet the United States of America for the World Soccer Championship. Do you know where it's going to be played? In Seattle, Washington. Do you know what's going on in Seattle, Washington that week? Pride Month.
No, really? I didn't make that connection. Oh, that's perfect.
I'm just looking forward to this.
Oh, I kind of hope that happens.
They're just thinking about.
Oh, you just made my day.
How that would happen. That would be kind of hilarious.
Forget what I just said, Marco. Forget it.
They have to reach the finals. But the finals are actually going to be played in Washington State, in Seattle, during Pride Month. And it would be hilarious to watch this. And think about this, okay? This is what independence? The 250-year independence?
Yeah, it's 250 years.
I mean, think about Iran and the United States playing in the World Soccer Finals on the year of the United States of America's 250-year anniversary. I mean,
are we going to have stealth bombers above the game?
I don't know. But like Pastor Tom says, you cannot make this stuff up.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So
I never ever thought about that. I think we should have the IRGC members of the IRGC standing outside of the game in Seattle, walking hand in hand with the Pride marchers.
So yeah, I just heard that on Israeli news the other day. That kind of got me all worked up.
Oh my goodness!
So it's going to be interesting.
Oh, I don't know. That sounds terrible, but I think I would love to see that.
Well, Argentina has a good team this year. I mean, if you're soccer fans, and it turns out that a lot more people in California.
Saudi Arabia is an up and comer too. I mean,
Saudi Arabia is
$300 million for 2 soccer players?
I don't know, but do you know who didn't make it into the finals?
Who?
Israel.
Oh, really?
We haven't been on the finals in many, many years. We're not good enough.
I guess that's. I mean,
since we are talking about it,
it's mostly Arab and South American dominated.
But since we are talking about it, I can't help. I want to mention one Israeli sports phenomenon. His name is Danny Avdia, and he is playing basketball in the NBA, and he is doing a really good job. I think he's playing for the Portland Trailblazers.
Yep.
So check it out if you want to hear about an Israeli. And again, there's anti-Semitism rising up against him on the courts, but he is a young and upcoming player from Israel. He actually played in the All-Star game.
There's a guy that I'd like to meet. His name is Tal Roglit.
Roglit?
Yeah. He is probably one of the world's greatest radio control helicopter pilots.
Oh,
incredibly talented. Incredibly. Was flying since he was a kid. I almost had an opportunity to meet him the last time we were in Israel, but it didn't work.
You know what? I'm going to segue into that now, though.
Huh?
The drones. We're having a serious problem with the
Oh
drones.
my goodness, yes.
2 more guys got hurt
Okay,
yesterday.
what's the story on the so-called video that got released by Iran that shows
A drone hitting an Iron Dome?
yes.
I think that's old. I mean, that came out in the beginning of the war. I don't know if you remember. There was a video of a drone going over Haifa, and there was a video of a drone flying over an Iron Dome, whatever. And I haven't seen anything about that. I haven't heard anything about that on the Israeli platforms. So I doubt it was happening. And my son lives up on the north. Something like that would have happened. He would have let me know. So I don't think that they've hit an Iron Dome. There's no way, shape, or form. But again, today you never know. It's easy to make things like that. They did make one in the beginning of the war. I don't know if you remember. There was one way back in the beginning of the war in 2023 where they kind of said we hit an Iron Dome installation. It turned out that it wasn't an AI. They had kind of video edited something with something else. So it didn't. So I'm wait to see. But we are having, by the way, it's a possibility. I mean, these how do you say optic? What do you call them? Fiber drones.
Yeah, which
are becoming a serious problem.
Yeah,
I think they.
I think to counteract them, I've been like reading on some of this. The counteracting, they've got tools now. They've got other drones that will cut those things down.
So the counteraction is taking place on a couple of. Until now, drones have not been a serious problem because we had electronic measures to hack in. I've seen. I think we've talked about a drone flying over the old city, gets hacked into and kind of disappears. So I've seen that happen. The thing is that if you've got a fiber optic that is connecting the drone to the how do you say the pilot, then you can't counteract it electronically. The only thing that you can do is actually hit the drone. And because, as you know, drones are small, they're slow, they don't give a radar thing.
Yeah.
We're having a problem. So now what they're doing is this. First of all, they've issued special ammunition to the soldiers on the ground. And they're 5.56 rounds that kind of split up into 5 small pellets.
Like a buckshot type thing?
Like a buckshot type thing on a regular 5.56 magazine. And they've added on a software to the scopes. I don't know if you know, but some of the scopes that we're using now on rifles, even on personal rifles, have a way to change the aiming point.
Isn't that interesting?
So it takes the direction of the drone, and with AI software in the rifle, how do you say, visor?
In the scope, there's a
scope.
There's a soft. I think I remember you talking about this. It's a software driven scope too. It's driven by AI, right?
It's driven by AI. It sees the drone.
I remember this,
and it moves the aiming point a little bit over. So when the soldier aims according to the new aiming point, he's putting in how do you say, a difference in trajectory.
Beautiful.
And then they're saying that might be part of the solution. They're talking about acoustic solutions. To find the idea is to find them first. I mean, but they come in very, very low, literally through the trees. They can bring the drone through the trees because the fiber optic is unwinding not from the operator, but from the drone.
From the drone itself.
So even if the drone gets entangled, or even if the drone flies through the trees, even if the fiber optic, as long as the fiber optic isn't broken, then the drone can continue. And it comes down through the valleys, and then it jumps up, sees a soldier, and somebody driving a truck actually got hurt last week, and I think somebody else. We're going to have to find a way to deal with it.
It'll happen quick. It'll happen faster than anybody thinks, just because of the ingenuity that we have not only in Israel but in our defense complex.
Yeah, somebody here said that they have 18 miles from start to finish. We haven't seen 18 miles yet, but we've seen definitely something like.
It's really that big?
Well, I heard a how do you say a statistic that said that every 10 miles of cable is a kilogram of weight. So it's a weight.
2.2 pounds.
It's a weight issue.
Then they could go a long way.
Yeah, I mean, the question is how big the drone is. How much weight can the drone carry? Thinking that it has to carry a warhead too. So there's this game, and again, this is how we're dealing with it. Israel is trying to deal with it in all kinds of different ways. Actually, drones, drone hunting drones, and things like that. But it will be okay. Let's put it like this: it will be solved in the end. The question is how many people have to suffer. It was the same thing. I mean. By the way, these drones are a problem even in the Strait of Hormuz. Think about that. I mean, if they can't be stopped, no ship is going to go through a waterway if he can be hit by a drone that cannot be intercepted.
Yeah, but the problem is they're not deploying many of those in the Strait of Hormuz, because along the coast, which would basically be the west coast of Iran, the east coast of the Persian Gulf, where the Strait of Hormuz is, and the island that everybody is contending over, Iran has very, very important assets, right? And those assets are offensive assets. They're not even defensive. They are the assets that Iran holds to be able to shoot anything in the Strait of Hormuz, and in some cases across the strait into the UAE, namely. The UAE's been the major attack. And the reason why the UAE's been attacked the most is because they have a shipping outlet that doesn't rely on Hormuz. So what they're hoping to do is to destroy their capacity to be able to ship their oil out, which, by the way, did you see that Iran is now pouring oil into the Persian Gulf?
Yeah.
So they're namedly the targets, but what they didn't anticipate, at least they didn't anticipate it well, is every single time a rocket fires, every single time something comes out of those areas on the west coast of Iran, specifically on the coast of the Persian Gulf, they're recognizing almost immediately, that they're in big trouble, because the very first time they launch something, we're blowing them up.
Yeah, but here's the problem: a drone doesn't leave a contrail. It doesn't.
But you're right about that. But what I'm talking about is that's why the deployment of the drones are becoming a bigger thing to them right now.
Yeah,
is that purpose? But the thing that you have to recognize is we are already developing intelligence that can see the proverbial string that guides that. So wherever those things are being launched from, we're able to almost immediately see the moment we identify the drone itself, and we're destroying the centers in which they're being launched from. That's the point.
Okay, so that's the issue, and that's what we're dealing with right now. But the drone, and here's part of, maybe this is a bigger discussion. You don't need to be able to take out an aircraft carrier. You don't need to be able to attack a destroyer. You don't need to be able to sink a tanker. All you need is to be able to drop a hand grenade size explosive device, or you don't even have to drop it. All you need to do is threaten to, and the whole world lines up to that. We are giving a power that is
I think you're right.
and beyond. Okay, we're giving strength and power above and beyond. So today, somebody like Iran doesn't need to have an army. That's why they can hold this up. They don't need to have an army that's big enough to take on the United States Navy. Nobody can do that. All they need to do is threaten to drop a drone with a hand grenade on a tanker. That's enough to close off a waterway.
Yeah, the good news behind that is it's not lasting long. So this is where the brilliance of Donald Trump comes into play. And that is, Donald Trump not only has the smarts to do it, but he has the courage to do it. So when that kind of tactic ends up getting deployed, what Donald Trump will do is he'll attack Allah. That sounds crazy, but you know what I mean? In other words, he will attack the confidence of the Iranian people who believe that Allah will help them in finding the hiding imam to be able to do what they're going to do. That's why, and I thought it was hilarious, that's why Donald Trump on Easter basically said, praise be to Allah. He didn't say Allahu Akbar to mock them. He said, praise be to Allah. Why did he say praise be to Allah? He said, praise be to Allah to mock the black Muslims. Like people don't get that. They don't see how hilarious that is. He is, within the eyes of the Shiites, he is deploying the utilization of a phrase that literally mocks Iran and their flavor of Islam. And if you don't understand the Middle East, if you don't speak Middle Eastern languages, if you don't understand our Semitic cultures, you're not going to understand the significance of that. By the way, to all you black people out there, take a listen to me. All you black folk that think you're cool, like Andrew Tate, when you say Allahu Akbar, my brother, just understand this. The Arab Muslims hate you.
Yeah.
Like, you get that, right? They were the ones that traded your ancestors here in the United States of America. When we fought on the Barbary Coast in 1806, we were fighting against black traders.
Slave owners.
Slave
traders.
These were Arab Muslims.
Yep.
They don't like you because you're black. Like, I hope you understand that. And I know you could get in trouble for saying that, but that's just real.
Arabs, I mean, there is literally a neighborhood in Gaza that is called El Abdi, which means...
Oh, wow. Really?
Literally.
El Abdi. Wow.
And it's because only black people live there. And
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Basically, they're mocking the town. They're calling it a town of stooges.
Yeah. No, well, the slave town.
Yeah,
Abed means slave.
Yeah,
I mean,
yes, but that's like you're a running stooges, basically.
Yeah. I mean, again, truth is not the issue here. So we're back to that. But I want to kind of touch what we were talking about before. I think what President Trump is understanding and what Israel is understanding too is that there's a difference between defense and deterrence. Defense meaning making sure that your enemy cannot do what he wants to do to you. And deterrence is making sure that the enemy will not want to do what he thinks he wants to do. And I think the Western world is realizing more and more that we've been hiding behind our technological defense, Iron Dome, Arrow 1, Arrow 2. And the enemy is always going to find a way to kind of find a way through the defense. I mean, I don't know if you remember, they were shooting missiles at us, so we put up the Iron Dome. Then they went into tunnels and they were tunneling out of Gaza, so we put an underground barrier that they couldn't go through. And in the end, they found a way to kind of just go through the fence with enough people. What I'm trying to say is your defense is always going to be at a disadvantage because the enemy is always going to find some kind of hole in your armor and some kind of jinx or some kind of way to overcome the army because they're not stupid. The enemy's not stupid. So what Israel is saying today, by the way, and this is part of the issue that we're talking about, that we need deterrence. We need our enemy to be afraid of us. And that is what President Trump is doing here. That's why he has all these forces here. He says that we need the enemy to be afraid, not only not to be able to. Because, look, you've taken away their Air Force, their Navy, whatever, and they'll still find a way to jeopardize or to endanger you. And what President Trump is saying, I want deterrence back. Israel is saying, we want deterrence back. We want our enemy to know that if you attack us, if you find a way to attack us, okay, because you find a jinx in our armor, then you will pay a big price. And I think we need to go back to deterrence is as important, if not more important, than defense.
Well, listen, the greatest accomplishment of Bibi Netanyahu in doing what he did was he eliminated the veil. He basically got rid of the mindset that a lot of Israelis had and the mindset that a lot of people in Europe had and a lot of people all over the Middle East that said Hezbollah is untouchable, that said Iran is untouchable. Like you can't do anything. Well, guess what? We just blew that paper tiger out of the water.
But we're back. And again, what do you think about the upcoming event with the head of China and President Trump? Where is that going to go?
Okay, so let me type this. I'm typing a text here.
Sorry.
No.
Well,
Okay, so let me talk this.
When is it going to happen?
He's on his way.
I mean,
He should be on his way already.
Yeah, I mean,
So he's going to sit down with Xi Jinping, and he's basically going to tell him, this is what you're going to do.
defense or deterrence?
Both.
There we go.
Are you kidding me?
There we go.
It's going to be both. And he's going to dangle in front of him the opportunity for a deal that's based on a tariff modification that's going to dramatically affect the advantage that some business owners have that have listened to the president and started manufacturing in the United States of America, and will make it more difficult for businesses that are still buying in China. It's exactly what's going to happen.
How soon?
I am willing to bet. I am willing to bet that you will see something happening within the next few days.
So he has to come, okay, and again, this is my question to the United States or what's going on. He has to come with both a stick and a carrot. And we know that President Trump likes to use both of them at the same time. We know that he does. And here's the question. Okay, we know what the stick is, and we know the tariffs are the stick. What do you think is going to be the carrot that he's going to offer them?
Look, this is what I can say. I don't even know if I want to call it a carrot. You see, when you use the term dangling a carrot, what you're implying is a mutual position of advantage that necessitates a specific give and take. In other words, you're my friend, you're in good shape, I'm in good shape, I have a slight advantage to offer you something that might incentivize you to do something, but in doing so, I know I get an incentive past your response. So I'm dangling the proverbial carrot in front of you so that you will give me what I want, while in turn giving you something that doesn't require me to experience any kind of loss. That's not what's happening here. Let me tell you what's happening here. What I think is happening is I think the president is coming from a place of complete and total advantage. He has been able to functionally demonstrate to China that even in the midst of economic strain as a result of modification that came from a bogus, baloney, bullcaca court ruling on tariffs, the United States of America still stands in great economic standing. They're not affected fiscally, they're not affected militaristically, they're not affected morally. In other words, there is no real morale problem within the ethos of fighters that we have. And on top of that, perhaps more consequentially, he has positioned himself to be able to tell Xi Jinping, you know what's going on in Taiwan. They are no longer at the center of all the chip making that's happening because we are quickly building chip manufacturers here in the United States of America. And by the way, let me take it one step further. Elon Musk is now in the process of building his own chips for his own AI technology under the auspice of walking away from Intel to open up the door to manage their own internal government contracts because of the deal that was worked with the United States of America and them. So what is happening is Xi Jinping is going to be facing two major issues with the president. The first major issue is we have to talk about Taiwan. Your defense posture on Taiwan is going to have to change. The president will say, I don't care about my defense posture with Taiwan, with Taiwan. so long as my interests are met with respect to production. And we're almost there. So guess what, Gigi? This is not even something that's going to go on the table right now. We're not having this conversation. Now, the South China Sea is going to be a big conversation because of the problem with the Philippines and because of the problem with Japan and some of the other consequences that will come as a result of that. Namely, by the way, the southern portion of the African continent will become dramatically affected by that.
Interesting.
For lots of reasons, by the way, maritime prominently. But the other thing that they're going to end up having a real conversation about is where in the world does this go for China to be able to recover from the economic situation that they've been thrusted into. In other words, China no longer has the ability to say we will cap off our exports because the president has incentivized every single business owner in the country to take advantage of the existence of massive tariffs on foreign competitors, thus now making it more profitable for them to sell and buy in America.
Okay.
Let me put it this way. Let me just give you a more practical example. Back in the day as a business owner, if I wanted to sell you a product and that product competitively in the market is being purchased for equal quality, equal ability for $200, I can't compete with that $200 price unless I go to China to make me my components. If China goes and makes me my components, then it costs me $100 to build. Now I can sell it for $200 and make a $50 profit because of all the other things I have to do. But if I have to now do everything in America, it's going to cost me $300 to build the components for the $200 widget that I'm trying to sell you, and I'm no longer going to be able to be competitive. As a matter of fact, nobody will buy anything unless it's got a stamp that says made in the USA and everybody wants to buy something made in America. But what if the president now says, you are going to pay a 30, 40, 50, 60% tariff to be able to export this. And by the way, for those of you importing, you're also paying a tariff.
There we go.
Now it's going to cost them $450 to build. So what now costs me $250 or $300 to build, I'm incentivized to build it here because the prices are going to go up, yes, but I'm going to make the profit. And eventually, as everybody starts manufacturing here in the United States of America, the prices are going to go down. Now, what does that have to do with Xi Jinping? Well, Xi Jinping recognizes that we're rebuilding the infrastructure here in the United States of America, and the only place we have to go is up. The more we do it here, if they don't play the game with the United States of America, the only place they go is down because their economy is already dead.
I get to push back against this a little bit.
Oh, this is going to be fun.
All right. Because, listen, the whole global economy.
Yep.
That China was becoming a center of it. You're saying what America needs to do in order to offset China's soft power that is resulting of their role in the global economy is local manufacture and take away their, their weight in the global economy, at least as far as the American economy is concerned. I'm gonna push on this and see how this relates, because what's happened in this war has been very interesting in my mind in connection to the world oil economy. Because the whole issue, the whole reason that the Strait of Hormuz is even important is because of the impact on world oil economy. But here's the thing. Let me finish.
I'm going to let you finish, but I'm going to just say this. There's an erroneous conflation being made with what you're saying with respect to Hormuz. I'll explain it in a minute. But go ahead.
America is oil independent. America doesn't need the oil that comes through the Strait of Hormuz.
Not one lick.
Not exactly. So why is the closing off of the oil or the control of the oil going through the Strait of Hormuz so important to the United States of America that it's willing to pull out major parts? I think 1/3 of the American Navy is now stationed right there. Let me just put it. Manufacture capability. We don't need it if we create our own manufacturing capability. oil dependency, we don't need the oil from there if we have enough oil, but still the global manufacturing environment and the global oil environment is still impacting the United States enough for the United States of America, through President Trump, to put out major assets into changing the situation.
Yeah, see, I kind of disagree with you.
Okay.
But
by the way, it happens.
Yeah, this is what we do. And by the way, for everybody that's going to say you guys are mean to each other or James, you're mean to David, this is what we do in the Middle East, okay? Just get that. Understand it. Yeah, you're not in the Middle East, Pastor James. Fine. Go find a show where you're less comfortable. That's probably not so nice. Anyway, let me just say this, okay? The reason why I disagree with that is because there's one fundamental issue you're missing and another fundamental issue you're conflating. Okay? The one fundamental issue that you're missing centers around the fact that the reason why we are engaging in the issue with the Strait of Hormuz has nothing to do with defending the interests of Europe or even the GCC. It has everything to do with the idea that if you set the precedent of hijacking a major international waterway, you now run the potential of creating a mandate for the United States to defend its interests in other waterways that would easily be jacked by other people who would take nefarious cause with it as a result of the lack of inaction or the lack of action observed by the United States of America. In other words, if one waterway is allowed to be pirated, then other waterways immediately become pirated. Now, we're talking about the gateway out of the Mediterranean would be one of the first places that would happen with Spanish pirates.
How about the Bay of America?
Give me a break. Give me a break. The Gulf of America, it would become a major battle. Perhaps one of the most consequential areas is going to be the Panama Canal. What about the Suez Canal? Why in the world wouldn't Egypt just basically say, we're shutting it down? It no longer is accessible to anybody unless you meet our demands. So the president is functionally deterring what may be a catastrophic regional overtaking from what is considered to be international trade waters to now what would be pirated waters by actual countries. So that's the first issue that's getting missed. The second issue, and perhaps more consequential one, the one that is being where there's this conflation that's happening, is we're conflating the desperation that's created by the need of the Europeans to have that way with the need that we perceive to be having in order to utilize it. They don't match. They're completely different. As a matter of fact, the more we block Hormuz, the more money we make. Because,
but here's the thing. Why are gas prices then rising in the United States?
The only reason why gas prices are rising in the United States is because the increase in the cost of oil. And the reason why the increase in the cost of oil is happening is because production is now coming to a halt within certain parts of the Middle East. And until the destruction of OPEC control happens, which pretty much has now happened because of what the UAE did, you're still going to have that happening. The other problem that you're going to have with the price of gas going up is the increase of the cost of barrels of oil in Europe. So in the European markets, in the Asian markets, and yes, even in the Israeli stock market, when the cost of oil begins to go up, you will have this problem. Now, in the case of Israel, you're having companies like Zion Oil going up 400% in the value of their stock, and their valuation even going up higher than that, which is creating the taxing on the cost of natural gas, especially because of what's happening off the coast of the Mediterranean, specifically in the northeast portion of the Mediterranean. Literally, this would be Turkey's southeast section, right? This is the area that's been contented by Erdogan and stupid Bennett, who literally tried to give up all of our rights.
Almost. Lapid almost
Don't
did
get
too.
me started. Dude, Yair Lapid was a disgusting disgrace. It's like he hates his country, but I'm going to leave that alone.
Yeah,
Erdogan loved those guys because those guys gave Erdogan whatever he wanted.
I think Erdogan is funding their new party right now.
Yeah, but let me explain this too. And it would be in Erdogan's interest to do so because the average Israeli doesn't understand American foreign policy as it relates to what's going on with Turkey. And that's creating a bigger problem because Israelis, correctly so, are threatened by Turkey, as they should be, because of the effective colonization of Syria by the utilization of Hayat Tahrir al-Shem and Julani to be able to do it, while completely experiencing the benefit of the Kurds being gone in the form of PKK.
That's another issue, that this bottleneck in the Persian Gulf
It's a whole other show.
Going to be.
It's a whole other show.
By the way, just side note quick. Somebody asked me about Sabbath in Israel. No, we go according, the Sabbath laws are according to what time sunset and sunrise and sunset are in the place that you are actually practicing the Sabbath. So if you're in the United States, it's American time zones, and if you're in Israel, it's Israeli time zones.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to do that.
No, that's good. That's good. That's a whole other discussion, because when we start getting into blood moons, that's where you can really get interesting with the cuckoo false prophets that are coming out there saying all kinds of stuff. So the conflation here is that the need that we see expressed in one region matches the need in the other. The rise in oil prices is something that the president really didn't care about. I mean, he cares. It's the one thing that's driving a lot of his policy right now. But the rise in oil prices was recognized by him as being temporary because of the benefit that comes with for lack of a better term, the refilling or the repatriation of all of the general supply chains. By the way, I'll say it. I don't care. Maybe I'll get in trouble for saying it. But I think the president was thinking about Iran when he attacked Venezuela.
Oh, definitely.
He had to have. There's no way.
It's a precursor.
He's super brilliant. It was the smartest thing he could have ever done. We now have all the wildcats in Venezuela redigging some of these wells, recovering what they can, digging new ones, and we're now billions of dollars richer as a result of it.
So people are getting upset because we called it the Bay of America.
The Gulf of America.
Gulf of America.
Could be called the Bay of Pigs, but that's a different location.
Well, here's the thing. What's the gap between Florida and Cuba called? The Florida Strait? I mean, is that...
they changed it recently. They changed the name of it.
But think about that. I mean,
Yeah.
if that is allowed, if the Strait of Hormuz is allowed to be closed, who can tell Cuba not to close that?
That's the point. That's the point. So when we talk about the necessity to deal with Hormuz, the necessity to deal with Hormuz has nothing to do with Hormuz itself.
Again, but here's me kind of, again, pushing back. This is the whole argument of the America First people. I mean, this is the whole argument of the, what do you call them, the isolationists. I mean, let's
No, they're not the
deal.
American First people. They're the American Only people.
Well, they call themselves the American First.
And they're about as smart as a bag of rocks.
But isolationists have always been. America's always had an isolationist problem, and I think this is what we're kind of
Within the internal politic mechanism, sure, yes. But we've always acted historically not as isolationists. We've actually acted in the best interest not only of our country, but for the benefit of other countries, knowing that it would eventually trickle down to us.
Here's a hard question. Would America have gotten into World War II if not for Pearl Harbor?
Eventually, yes.
Yeah, but
something
much
else
later.
would have. Pearl Harbor became the political justification for us to get involved in World War II. We were waiting. We were searing to do it.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, a lot of people were saying we don't want to get into this.
100%.
And I mean, Europe was in the war for a long time before the United States of America became a part of it.
100%.
And even if the United States had waited, let's say, 3 years, the war in Europe might have turned in a different direction.
I mean, keep this in mind. Winston Churchill may have been the single most courageous actor in the time of World War II. The single most important person during that time, he literally saved Western civilization. More than America, more than anybody else. He literally saved Western civilization, and he lost his election after the war.
Yeah, totally.
Like, there's some perspective.
Well, you know the guy that won the Battle of Britain, the commander of the British Air Force during the Battle of Britain, which I would say is also a key event, was actually fired afterward.
Yep.
I mean, again, we're and the question is, who's going to appreciate President Trump after this is over?
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I think that unfortunately he's going to be appreciated a lot more when it's too late, which is why I'm trying to encourage people to appreciate what he's doing for us today. I mean, what the president is doing is not only historic, it's something that's remarkable. It's something, put it this way, so many people beat up what the president is doing right now because so few of them actually understand the full implications of what's happening.
So what is going to happen? What's going to happen this week? I mean, he's in China. The situation in Iran hasn't been determined. Elections in Israel are up in the air. Midterms are coming up here. And I don't know who's going to win the Eurovision. Well, we'll see about that. But what's going to happen this week?
I think one of the most powerful insulation mechanisms is going to end up becoming in full effect or being placed into full effect by the president with Xi Jinping. And that is going to be the solidification of how the markets respond to news in China. I think it's going to change pretty dramatically, because what's going to end up happening is a foolproof agreement will be established and agreed to, bilaterally, of course, that will, in essence, completely shield, within the next few years, the United States market from being affected by news in Japan, because it will further sever the tie between the United States and Japan with respect to how trade movements happen. And I think he's going to use the condition with the Strait of Hormuz as the leveraging position to be able to accomplish that. Because right now, one of the greatest sufferers of the Strait of Hormuz being where it's at is China, because they don't get the energy benefits that they have been longing for since Iran has had their hands tied.
So you think China is going to throw Iran under the bus?
I think that China is going to do whatever it takes to keep their energy needs working.
My question would be, if they throw Iran under the bus, what do they get in return?
They get a more normalized and efficient tradeway path between their biggest trade partner and themselves, the United States of America, and they also get a new avenue for energy. That's what I think happens.
Interesting. We'll have to see how that plays out.
That becomes
when is the meeting?
I believe he's on his way to China right now.
I mean, that I think is one of the more critical events that are going to happen in the near future.
Oh, yeah. And by the way, I think the chairman will honor the president. I think they're going to sit down. They're going to have a gut-wrenching conversation. I think the chairman is a brilliant man. I don't think he's an idiot.
Oh, no, you can't be an idiot and be where he is.
No. And I also think that the president of the United States is by far one of the most qualified leaders we have ever had in the history of our nation to be able to deal with men like Xi Jinping. There's no other way around it.
Pieces are moving across the board.
I'm telling you, bro, we're watching things that, in my opinion, are completely unprecedented. And the monkeys that are running around, screaming and yelling, behind, throwing their feces out at everybody, the Tucker Carlsons of the world, the Candace Owens of the world, all of that, they are, in some cases, too unintelligent to be able to understand the real issues. Or in some cases, they are very intelligent, but are just losing their minds, and they're lying.
When are the midterms?
Our midterms?
Mm-hmm.
November. Yep. There are some primaries happening within the next few weeks, but the midterms are in November.
Is there a chance that Trump will lose the midterms?
I don't think so.
Is there a chance? I mean...
Well, he wouldn't lose the midterms. It's the House and the Senate. I think it's going to be tricky, but I think that we'll win the midterms. And then I'll laugh at everybody that said that Turning Point USA is incapable of helping win those. I'll call Erica, and the first thing I'll do on the phone when she picks up, I won't even say anything. I'll just go, That's exactly what I'm going to do.
What are we going to do with our Candaces and Tuckers and
then I'm going to say you were right, and I told you so.
And Megyn Kelly, look where she's
gone.
gone.
I know.
Where is she gone?
She's a cuckoo. You know the other thing that I really like about Erica not being out saying a whole lot and really not responding? She's effectively communicating that all these people are beneath her, and they are.
Yeah. Okay, but again, I'm going to go back to where we started off in the beginning. Part of this is seeping into the church.
What do you mean part of it? Some of it's coming from the church. What are you talking about?
Especially into the young people in the church. Okay?
Well, I mean, look at what was going on, bro, within the church when all of these bozos were running around talking about defunding the police. There were pastors that were standing behind their pulpit talking about how we have a problem with our law enforcement. We have a problem. Yet those same cowards would be the first people to pick up the phone and call and ask for the help of the police when something bad was happening. And then they would go complain when there was no response time, but they're the ones that defunded them.
Again, without being disrespectful, having a political argument about defunding the police, or even a political argument about trans issue, or political argument about even abortion. I mean, this Israel issue kind of seems to me to be a core issue that the church is being judged by.
Listen, David. They go hand in hand, okay? Just listen to me for this, okay? Let's just talk about the hypocritical, racist pastor that's out there who says that he stands for the rights of black people. I stand for the rights of the colored man. I hear it a lot.
Really?
People in Calvary chapels even. Oh, I stand for the rights of these disenfranchised, mistreated people. Okay, if you do, you coward, how about you acknowledge the fact that the greatest civil rights issue of our time centers around the fact that 2.7% of our childbearing population in this country are black women, yet they represent 55% of the abortions that are taking place in this country. Do you know in cities like New York, there are more black babies being killed than there are being born?
Ow,
and that's beginning to happen in Los Angeles. So if you're really all about civil rights, my brother, then why aren't you defending the 3,000 to 5,000 plus babies that are being killed, half of which are black babies? So here's my thing. If you won't defend the little babies that are dying every single day on your watch, how in the world are you going to identify God or defend God's chosen people? You won't. You just won't, because you don't care. You don't care. When this was happening in Signal Hill, it was one of the questions that I asked. They did it once, by the way, and that was it. But when you have a guy putting on a dress, a man, a full-grown man putting on a dress and wearing drag, whatever, makeup, and reading books to little babies, little children, forget the crazy, psychopathic city council that would allow that to happen. Okay? There's one city council member that is confused about his own gender. Just call it sex. He doesn't know the difference between XX and XY. But let's just forget that. Before everybody says, well, you sound very hateful, James. You sound very, very angry. Here's my question about what was happening at the library. Why weren't the fathers out there waiting in the parking lot? Where are all the fathers defending their babies being exposed to a complete predator?
Where are the parents who are picking up their children and saying, I don't want my children to be
That's my point. That's my point. If we are not going to defend our children, and instead, just like everybody is obsessing over, instead we're going to worry about UFOs.
I've been enjoying the UFO dynamic.
Oh my goodness. Oh, my goodness. These pastors will make a bigger deal about being in some top secret meeting that never happened, but won't even talk for 5 minutes about the babies that are dying.
Doesn't a pastor have a chore, a right, or to teach the parents to defend their children not only physically? I mean, I'm watching how kids are being raised today.
100%.
Sometimes, I mean, the fear of germs and the fear of physical bodily harm has gone above and beyond. I mean, kids don't play outside.
Listen, bro.
Kids don't do anything alone. I mean, something's going on there, and we're wrapping them up in cellophane. How come we're not wrapping up their minds?
Because we've lost our heart. Like, we don't defend people anymore. I remember this happened years and years and years ago. You know, I'm historically the fattest man to ever walk through the doors of the municipal police department that I served as a chaplain for. I mean, I'd get in a police car, and the police car would kind of lean over on the side that I sat. I remembered getting out on a call with a police officer that was probably 5'2", and she was maybe 110 pounds, completely wet, with her gun gear and everything that she had to wrap around her belt 2 times because she's that tiny. And she comes up against a parolee, and you can see the look on his face. Like, you know what he's going to do. Like, you get it. And you can see him squaring up, and like he's gonna pick her up, and he's just gonna it doesn't matter what she tries to bring to the table. She's not gonna do well in this confrontation. She's just not. It's gonna be really ugly. So I have to get out of the car. I'm the chaplain. I'm being told, stay in the car. I'm gonna handle this. Like, I have to get out of the car. I walk right up to the parolee. And he is now beginning to square up against me. Now, I'm way bigger than him. I'm 3 of them in a fat man suit, but he's yoked. He's in way better shape than I'll ever be. And he's looking at me like he's going to square away because he knows he's going to jail. And I look at him, and this is all I tell him. And I'm scared to death, by the way, when I'm saying this. Like, I'm absolutely scared to death. I tell him, do me this favor. Make sure that whatever you do, when you hit me like you're thinking of doing, that you knock me out the first time. Just do that. Make sure you do that. Because if you don't, there's nothing that's going to stop me. Because I have a bigger heart than you.
So
but there's my point behind me saying that. That ended pretty quickly.
Okay. Because
he believed me. But my point is this. Where are the men that are out there that are doing that today?
They're gone.
Why aren't we saying, these are my babies? I better be dead if you're going to do this to my child.
No, it's become acceptable.
So you're wondering about anti-Semitism. Well, this is where it's coming from.
Exactly.
It's coming from men that are not present in their households. So their disillusioned sons are hanging out in their basements playing video games all day. Not being useful, not being adventurous, not going out and making a difference, not changing people's lives. And they're believing liars like Nick Fuentes.
Who's gone to the Democratic Party.
Oh, yeah, he's a leftist. He's a leftist.
How can we call... So here's the thing. How can we call Nick Fuentes a leftist?
He is. He is.
So what is left and right today?
Look, it's really, really simple. Conservatism without Christ is leftism. So there's either people who believe in biblical principles and people who don't. Nick Fuentes wouldn't know the Bible if it slapped him in his lying mouth.
I'm going to throw something here, and I don't know how true this is. Tell me what you think. Right still connects to truth. It's not always true.
In some cases.
It's not always true.
Tucker Carlson's considered to be right.
We're not calling Tucker Carlson right anymore, I think.
No. He's not biblical, obviously.
So has the biblical aspect become the political, I'm going to say, yardstick that we measure today? And not because everybody is a born-again Christian, but how close they are to biblical narrative. Is that playing a role? If I'm asking this right.
I think the correct role has to be, and this is like very, very important. The correct role has to be, what does the Bible say, and will I stand for it?
I heard a pastor, and I'm not going to even say, I don't even know what denomination, who stood up on the pulpit with a multicolored whatever and said that, we don't know if Jesus was a man or not. And he brought biblical references that he believes kind of connected that up.
Well, he's an idiot.
People are buying into
you're an
this.
idiot.
People are buying into this. That's my problem. I mean, you can kind of almost prove that Israel is a problem and not a solution. I mean, that's what I'm going to be talking about day after tomorrow. Israel is the solution to everything. I mean, go back to Revelation. Israel is part of the prerequisites for, the Lamb standing on Mount Zion. You Zionist, you.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're an idiot. You have to be an idiot. I mean, that's what has to happen, not you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if that's the way it is. There's no other way of putting it.
But they're buying in, James. We need to fight this. We need to fight this about the babies. We need to fight this about the genders. We need to fight this for the fathers. We need to fight this for Israel. And it turns out that it's all the same kind of war. It
all goes back to not people choosing to not know the difference between what is right and what is wrong. And that's the issue. Are you going to contend for what is right, or are you going to continue to contend for, what is in essence functionally wrong?
True or false? Is that an aspect?
100%. 100%.
Okay. By the way, Israel just now finished its Eurovision song. So if you want to vote, go back in there and vote. just now came up.
Okay, so I think we're gonna see big war. I think we're going to end up seeing the GCC solidify its position of perimeter security if we don't find some kind of an outlet on the Iran side.
Iran's got to back down. Iran has to back down. Otherwise, and I think the United States is in a point where it can't allow itself.
100%.
I don't think President Trump can allow itself. So this is going to be interesting.
I am. I guess I could just say that I'm somewhat looking forward to seeing where all of this is going to end up going.
I have a feeling that this meeting between how do you say Xi Jinping?
Xi Jinping, yep.
Xi Jinping,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and President Trump might be the cork that's pulled out of this drain, and it's going to allow it all to happen.
Yep.
That might be. I think maybe that's what there's a feeling that it's all on the edge, and maybe that'll be the defining factor. Something's going to happen there that's going to unplug all the rest of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Man, we keep saying we're going to see something active that we're going to report on next week.
I'm waiting for it. I'm just waiting for it.
I do think, by the way, I really do think this. I do think that if something majorly kinetic happens as a result of Iran doing something, it'll be tonight.
That is interesting.
And the reason why I think...
Before the meeting.
That's right. I think it will be an attempt to sabotage what the president does with the chairman.
Interesting.
So we should make a deal that if something crazy kinetic happens tonight, that you'll come back and we'll do something live. What do you think?
If it happens tonight, I will be back.
Okay. All right. I will love nothing more than to hear you say, James, you were right. That will be lots of fun. Okay. We'll take a few questions. Do you see any questions that you want to answer?
Well, somebody was asking about the Sabbath. I think we took that. Somebody asked in the beginning if we can ask questions. So yeah, if you do have questions, this is the time. This is definitely the time I'm looking for.
Okay, this is a sad comment. This is actually truly tragic, and it actually is indicative of the world that we've become. Right? This person says, "Just found out my little sister is expecting her first baby. I don't really care about being an uncle when I don't have a wife and children." I'm just going to say this like in the most sensitive of ways, but are you nuts? You have what will be one of the greatest and most joyful opportunities of your life. You will get to experience the joy of a precious little baby. You get to be an uncle. Praise the Lord. Use that as practice for when a baby comes your way. How about that?
Be an influence.
Amen.
I'm learning that. Somebody asked, what about the status of the rebuilding of the temple? I'm going to say in a nutshell, it's on hold right now. I don't see it happening in the political environment that we're talking about right now.
Yep.
And I'm going to put it this, I don't know, maybe I don't know if Pastor Jim's going to push back against this. As far as I'm concerned, the building of the next temple is going to be an end time event that will be part of a much, much greater event that we haven't seen.
Yeah, very likely. I'm actually very much on the same page with you. I think it's gonna be something like that. By the way, Pookie, part 2 of that video with Jay Smith gets released Friday. Let me make sure. Friday, that's right. That's going to be a big one. Because we're going to talk about how Islam drives the danger of Iran.
Why is Tucker still acting like a 40-year-old wine mom? Who's asking that?
That's a 40-year-old wine mom. Sounds like a Kaddis audience
pretending
member.
to be a 7th grade
I like that.
I think that Tucker, I'm not going to use the actual terminology that I think Ben Shapiro used, but Tucker Kaddis and now he's calling Megan are click whatevers. They're all
you can say click whore.
I can't say that.
Why not?
Why
can't you say click whore?
I don't know. And again,
I don't mind saying that.
Well,
they're click whores.
Here's a problem.
Megan's a real click whore. Kaddis is too. Tucker scares me. Tucker's an ideal. I think. Well, I don't know. I can't.
Tucker, I think, is what I get from Tucker, and maybe I'm wrong. Tucker is a rebel. You know those kids who everybody had one in school. The kid where the teacher says, "Don't step outside the line. We're all going in this direction," and he steps outside the line. The kid that says, the kid that looks at the teacher in the cafeteria and she says, "Hold on to that glass because you don't want you to drop it and break it." And he looks in her eyes. I saw once a kid doing this. Looks at her. He says, "This glass," and she says, "Yes," and he drops it and says, "Okay." Now, I think Tucker has that in him.
I think Trump has more of that in him than Tucker does.
No, Tucker has it in a negative way.
Yeah.
I mean, just so I can say I broke it. Just so I can say I'm going to do what you told me not to do, and I dare you to do anything about it. I think there's something in Tucker that says, I dare you to push up against me. I dare you to say anything about it. I think that's what Tucker has.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in a negative.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Give us an update.
Somebody said, "Mom put a bar of soap in my mouth if I talk dirty." So I got to be careful.
Yeah. Well, that's just talking truth, but that's a whole other story. Megan needs a bar of soap in her mouth.
What's going on with the building?
Oh, by God's grace, I think that it's gonna work out. We just when the time clock starts, we're gonna need a lot of donations to come in to be able to buy it.
Yeah,
and we'll only have about a month and a half to do so.
Ooh.
And I think we'll be able to do it. That's my hope and my prayer.
Okay.
It will change everything about what we do in ministry. It instantly gives us 800 to 1,000 seat sanctuary that we desperately need. And it does a whole bunch of other things that we're very excited about being able to do. So it's a big difference.
Who else we got? Pray for Trump. He's at a pivotal moment. I mean, this is probably one of the most pivotal events. Pray for Israel right now.
100%.
No,
100%.
We don't need elections right now.
I mean, all the things that we've been talking about have been us pontificating. This is what we think could happen. This is what we think could happen. This is what we think could happen. But I'm telling you right now, if Israel has to go into elections because it was forced, and this Bennett Lapid ends up becoming a real contender, it'd be a disaster for the state of Israel.
They are a contender. Look at that. I mean,
no, but listen. I mean, it would be a disaster for the state of Israel.
Yeah, I agree on that one.
It would show the world a whole new level of weakness.
On the other hand, Israel does have to solve its Orthodox problem. There is a problem there.
Oh, I agree. I agree 1,000% with that.
Somebody started the tip jar for the new building.
I'm salting the new building tip jar. That's so sweet.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so let's do this before we wrap it up. Let's go through some of the super chats, because obviously you guys are, those of you that are doing it, you are a huge blessing. So let me read some of those. Let me see. Oh, this has to be updated. Okay, there we go. All right. Let me close this off. All right, Brad. Brad says AOC insinuate the only way one could become a billionaire through unethical or illegal means. I wonder if she meant Tom Steyer and George Soros. Amen to that. AOC is such a stupid human being.
It is, but she is making trash. She's not disappearing.
She's.
I mean, what other Democrat do you
smart.
know? What other Democrat do you know her name?
I know. You got a good point, bro. You got a good point. And then you have Ilhan Omar, who's busy fighting World War XI. Brad goes on to say a man rescued a moose from a block of ice this week. He should put on he should put that on his resume. He could get a job getting JB Pritzker out of his car. Oh man, that's taking off the gloves. Dude, that's hardcore right there. Oh my goodness. We got another one coming from Brad. James Comey said President Trump had not made one decision in office which angered Vladimir Putin. In other words, 2016 Democrats called and want their fake talking points back. That's hilarious. Christy Recker, thank you so much. And Tweeter Trash, we already read your comment. Thank you. I hate calling you Tweeter Trash, but that's your name. You're not trash. See, Blessed. Great to hear from you. You say, God bless you both, James and David. We love you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Pray for Trump. Pray for Trump. I think that's the critical issue. And vote in the Eurovision, if you can.
Also, I think it's very important to mention that this week is National Police Week.
Okay.
In our country, and this is the day, this is the week where we honor our law enforcement officers. We are doing that as a church. We are feeding our law enforcement officers for 24 hours.
That's fine.
And they will be going through our church doors. We'll probably have the tune of hundreds of them going through our doors, which they do every single time, 2 times a year. We're very excited about that. So let's pray for our police officers as well.
Well, the food's good.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Well, those guys deserve the best. Okay, well, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
All right, David.
Avinu Shebashamayim, just thank you for this platform, for these people, for this support. But we pray for our leaders today. We pray for President Trump. We pray for Bibi Netanyahu. We pray for all the leaders around the world who are making the decisions that will impact the lives of us, our kids, and our grandkids. We pray for the peace of Jerusalem.
Yes.
But I want to pray for the church that it does not turn its back on your people. Large parts of the traditional church already have. I pray for the Bible-reading, evangelical, God-fearing people who are buying into the world narrative and turning away from you, your connection to your people, and their connection to the land. I just pray that they will have the light shed on this darkness that is spreading, and we'll see the truth. And we just want to thank you that we can be a part of this. Thank you for this platform here. Thank you for all the people. Thank you for our police and other security forces that are giving up their time, their energy, and their danger in order to support, defend, and secure all the rest of us. We just thank you for the people who are willing to be there for their communities. And just thank you for that opportunity to be a part of supporting them and saying thank you to them. Thank you for Pastor James for allowing this to happen. And just pray that your will be done as on earth as it is in heaven. In the name of your son, Yeshua. Amen.
Amen and amen. We love you guys. God bless you. Just remember, there's a lot happening right now. So get out there, speak up, fight the good fight. We love you guys.
See you guys.